Top Gun, the world's newest and fastest roller coaster here at Great America in Santa Clara, California. Its sheer speed and power makes your heart beat a lot faster. But also here in Santa Clara, just across the road there, is the Intel Corporation, where they're making the Pentium microprocessor. Its sheer speed and power will make your computer beat a lot faster. Today we'll take a look at the ups and downs of the new Pentium PCs on this edition of the Computer Chronicles.
Computer Chronicles is brought to you in part by Intel, microprocessor technology for the software of today and tomorrow. Intel, the computer inside. Additional funding is provided by the Software Publishers Association, providers of educational materials to help manage software. Don't copy that floppy. And by Hewlett-Packard, Personal Computer Division.
Welcome to the Computer Chronicles. I'm Stuart Chaffee, and with me today is Ken Lowe, Principal Microcomponents Analyst with DataQuest. And you specialize in this chip stuff, Ken. And first of all, show us the Intel Pentium chip.
Well, this is the latest generation of x86 compatible chips off the line for Intel. It comes off the line with 3.1 million transistors in it, compared to 1.2 million in the 46 generation.
Almost 3 times as many.
Almost 3 times as many. It comes out with 64-bit data bus versus a 32-bit data bus, twice as many data bits. And the performance is about 2x the 46 generation.
The question I have for you, Ken, is it worth my spending the money to go out and buy a Pentium PC now? Will I get enough return?
Well, it really depends. If you're using the type of software that is giving you performance constraints, you're waiting for it to update the screen, it'd be a good idea to take a look at a Pentium system. The premiums are only about $500 at the low end compared to a 46 high-end system. But at the same time, if you're thinking of on a whim, should we go out, upgrade the system, prepare for next generation, prices will probably get better next year, availability get more widespread, and I think we're looking at a widening of the available models as we move into the future.
Is this a different sort of competitive environment now? We hear about the Power PC coming out, the Alpha chip coming out. Is it no longer just an Intel world?
Well, it is true that in the next several years we're going to see increased competition from alternate architectures. However, there are issues with adopting a new architecture that takes you away from the current base of compatibility, which comes through the software that works with the architecture, and into a base of compatibility that uses the operating system to keep you away from the architecture.
So there might be a risk.
There might be a little bit of risk.
Okay, today we will look at several new Pentium-based PCs from Gateway, ALR, Compaq, Acer, AST, and Hewlett-Packard. We're going to start with a visit to the Intel labs in Santa Clara, California, to see where the chips are made and to get a first look at their processing power.
The Pentium processor is fast. In fact, it's over twice as fast as the fastest 486. Graphics-related computational intensive tasks are where the difference really shows. The reason for all this speed is the Pentium superscalar architecture. It has 2 integer units on one chip, allowing software instructions to flow down 2 pipelines at one time. This chip-level parallel processing is combined with a branch prediction unit.
That branch prediction unit allows the chip to guess ahead of time what the software is going to do. And it turns out the chip is so smart it guesses correctly about 80% of the time. So we get about a 25% performance speed up right there.
Manufacturing takes place in a clean room environment, utilizing 0.8 micron technology.
With the 486, we got 1.2 million transistors on a single piece of silicon. With the Pentium chip, we're using 3.1 million transistors. And so it really took a lot of work from a manufacturing standpoint to lay all those transistors down on a single piece of silicon and to be able to put it into high-volume manufacturing.
Orders for the Pentium are already outpacing Intel's sales projections. One reason for the early acceptance of Pentium in the marketplace is software compatibility.
There's been a lot of words said about our competitors and their RISC chips and their attempts to come after the mainstream personal computer market. But the bottom line is that they're starting from zero in terms of a software base, and they're trying to build up. And the Intel architecture and the Pentium chip runs all 50,000 of those software applications and runs it at full speed. So we don't really see the RISC chips as being much competition in terms of the mainstream personal computer market.
Multimedia users and application developers hungry for more power are natural market niches for the Pentium, in addition to single and multiprocessor servers. That customer base will expand as Intel continues to develop new versions of the Pentium.
Over time, we expect to be able to move the Pentium processor into the entire range of personal computing, and for that matter, all of computing, mainframes, handheld machines, you name it. And to do that, we'll have to do specialized versions of the Pentium chip. So there'll be versions that are very, very low power, aimed at portables. There'll be versions that are very powerful, aimed at servers. And there'll be a variety of different Pentium processors right at the mainstream, aimed at the personal computer market.
For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Jonelle Patterson.
If you want to put a Pentium PC on your desk right now, you can get a Gateway 2000 for under $4,000. Here to show us how the Gateway 2000 Pentium PC works is Russ Graham of Gateway 2000. Russ, first of all, what about the price? I know the one we're going to look at now is about $3,900. How cheap can you get into a Pentium PC right now?
The lowest price product we have right now is $29.95. It's a fully configured system with 8 megabytes of memory, 424 meg hard drive, 256K cache, 2x CD-ROM, sound card, etc.
$2,900.
Correct.
Okay, the one we have here is about $4,000. And first of all, let's go through, and I know you just have a preset demo here because there's so many different things we could do. We were talking before about what kinds of applications the Pentium power is really worth it, and run through some of the environments, some of the applications in which you really need this kind of speed.
Okay. What I think is really beautiful about the Pentium is that the product itself can run all of the software that's been available out in the market today. And then you have the very high-end applications that it has a built-in power for. So for things such as 3D modeling, CAD type of work, we've got Photoshop and photo editing, where you can take pictures that are digitized, manipulate them, change them.
So anything that's really computation processing intensive, like graphics work, obviously.
Right. And the 32-bit operating environments of the future, where they're very graphic-orientated, where they're very, like you said, computational-orientated. The Pentium will really be able to tap into the ability to run those. Okay,
now on your Gateway Pentium machine, obviously the chip is just one part of the process. I mean, to really get good performance, you've got to do a lot more inside there besides just replace the CPU. What else is in this Gateway that gives you that kind of fast performance?
I think one of the most exciting things is the local bus video that we have in there. It's based on the PCI standard. You can put hard drives on that local bus, you can put video, network cards, etc. That's what really increases the speed. So instead of going out to the ISA bus, you're doing it locally with the memory and the CPU subsystem. The 64-bit data bus that goes from the CPU over to the memory is extremely fast and allows you to write information and get information from memory, compute it quickly, and spit it out.
So you're saying you really do take advantage of the 64-bit processor now?
Absolutely.
Even though there's not a lot of software that's really taking advantage.
Well, it's for the memory subsystem, so it definitely takes advantage of it.
So you're still moving data a lot faster inside the machine.
Absolutely.
How about a quick tour? This is a tower model, the P560 we're looking at, and just show us the configuration here.
Well, the configuration of this machine, it's the 3995 machine, has 16 megabytes of memory, 256K of cache, has a 528 megabyte hard drive, has a 16-bit sound card, 2x CD-ROM, the 17-inch crystal scan monitor.
Okay, and again, asking the question I asked Ken at the very beginning, I guess you're selling computers, so I guess I know the answer, but really, is this the right time to go buy one of these things? Prices are clearly going to come down a little bit when there's a greater supply of Pentium chips around.
I think one of the exciting things about the Pentium is, unlike previous processors that were very high priced when they first came out, this has been putting a lot of pressure down on the standard products out there right now. So I think it is a pretty good time to buy it, but it definitely depends upon your applications. The more intensive your application is, or the more applications you're doing simultaneously, the better results you're going to get from a Pentium product.
Russ, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
All right, one of the potential problems with a chip that has over 3 million transistors on it is heat generation. We visited the PC Week labs to find out about the heat problem, and here's that report.
PC Week Labs has run extensive tests on all of the existing Pentium-based hardware. They discovered that heat generation was a problem during beta testing, but since the addition of cooling fans, Lab Director Jim Louderback says all the systems are performing quite well.
They've got cooling fins on them, kind of like a Cadillac, 3 or 4 different fans. There's one machine, the HP back here, actually has the cooling fins, and then it has a fan sitting on top of the cooling fins, a tiny little fan. So the designs on the server seem to be pretty well done, and they have to be. You know, 3 or 4 fans are pretty much de rigueur with all the hardware that's inside of them.
A fan card is a must-have for a Pentium upgrade, but the PC Week testers say you're probably better off buying a Pentium system outright.
The Pentium requires much more air going over it because it's a much hotter chip than the 46. If the system isn't built correctly, you put a Pentium in and it heats up the system and your system dies. Probably not a good idea.
Louderback says most people don't need all of Pentium's power on the desktop, but servers are another story.
The HP Net server that I have behind me actually has been the best uniprocessor Pentium performer that we've seen. It did incredibly well on our SQL Server results running under NetWare, running as an NLM, because it's got a very fast channel, a very fast I/O, and it's got a very good disk controller that hooks up to multiple different disks. So that's a good box. They're all good boxes, and the multiprocessor ones are more expensive, but when you need the power, even a single Pentium isn't going to do it, so throw 3, 4, 5 Pentiums at it.
Evaluations have been done on virtually all of the Pentium systems available. However, the lab is waiting for IBM to release its microchannel production line.
It looks like it's going to be a real screamer, too, from the beta machines that we've looked at. IBM also, in their Ambra line, has a 2 Pentium server that we're just starting to take a look at. So no results there yet. We've looked at an NEC server that did real well. We've looked at Zenith, a couple of Zenith boxes that they were all right. They were kind of mid-level. They weren't as expensive, but they performed adequately. And we looked at a couple of ALR machines that were all right as well.
For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Jonelle Patterson.
One of the expected benefits of a Pentium-based machine is improved network performance. So here to show us Pentium power in a client machine and a server is Steve Brejo of ALR. Steve, let me back up and take a look at the monitor here on your ALR Evolution machine. And I take it this is a demonstration of the processing power you're getting out of this Pentium.
That's right, Stuart. We have Windows NT running on this particular machine. You can see the multi-threaded operations running, the different boxes doing their own thing on their different windows.
All right, so there's lots of computation-intensive applications going on simultaneously, as you say here, the multi-threading. Explain the architecture inside the machine that's allowing you to get this maximum power out of the Pentium.
Okay, to that we'll go into this graphic. What we have is the Pentium processor here in the middle being fed literally on reads and writes out of a very large cache, 512K, at 64-bit transfers. To pump that data to the bus architectures, both an ESA bus and a VL bus, we use an intermittent funnel, 64-bit data funnel. This is how we achieve high throughput of data processing.
Now, what are the basic objects you're trying to accomplish in the architecture underneath the Pentium?
Okay, to do that, I'd like to go over here and show you the actual items.
So this is your server model?
That's right. This is the Evolution 5Q. Over here on the left, we have the Pentium processor. Comes in 60 or 60 megahertz clock speeds. The 512K cache that is very important in a Pentium design is located here. The high-performance memory subsystem to the right are 64 megs of memory, 16 megs is standard, 1 gigabyte is the maximum on this particular model. We have in the upper right-hand corner the 10 ESA bus slots. The top 3 have the Visa VL local bus slots. So you see in this system we've covered all of Intel's must-haves. 64-bit bus, the high level 2 secondary cache, a high-performance memory subsystem, and VL bus capability.
So that's got to be the whole picture to get that Pentium really cranking at its max.
That's right.
All right, let's go around the front here, and can you show me the front of the box here?
Okay. In the front of the box, we really have quite a bit of expandability. At the top, I have 2 3.25-3.5-inch drive bays. Below, I have 11 5.25 drive bays. Here, I've configured the system with a CD-ROM, a tape backup, and a number of removable SCSI drives.
So these are removable drives, which we can crank out here.
That's right. These are hot swappable in a SCSI environment.
Right. All right. What's the price story on these things? Say, let's start over here with getting this little guy over here to get me a Pentium box, a basic one.
Our entry-level models start at $24.95 for a base model. Most of our users and our resellers will configure our equipment to their specifications. A fully configured model like the one you see in front of you is about $34.95.
Steve, you've been selling these for a couple of months now. Who is buying Pentium machines? What kind of users are out there making this investment?
Recently we did a customer survey and asked a lot of our users, what have you configured your Pentiums with? What types of applications are you running? We're finding interesting applications like neural networks, artificial intelligence, satellite tracking, obviously high-end CAD, they're getting the network performance. Financial analysis and those types of things.
Sure, the thing that's really taken the computational power.
That's right.
All right, thank you very much. Coming up next, we'll run some benchmark tests with a Pentium PC up against a 486, so don't go away. The key, of course, to buying a Pentium PC is getting improved performance. But how much better is a Pentium than a good 486? Here to show us is Ron Ulfers of Compaq.
Hi, Stuart.
Ron, first of all, what are the two machines we have here?
What we're showing, Stuart, is a Compaq Desk Pro family. On the right is a Compaq Desk Pro 48633. On the left, the Desk Pro 566M, the Pentium product from Compaq. On the right also, just for clarification, is a 17-inch 1024 monitor and the QVision 200, the new monitor on the left.
Okay, so that's a 48633. This is a Pentium 66.
Right.
All right, now let's take a look at this board now. I understand because this is a modular design, if I wanted to, I can upgrade this by putting in a board that has the Pentium processor on it, which would be a board like this?
That's exactly correct.
All right, and what's on here?
What we're looking at is the processor board for the Desk Pro M. On the right, you'll see the Pentium processor along with its fan complex. The Pentium processor sits just under the fan. Moving to the left, you see the 256K of second level cache.
That's this guy in the middle here.
In the middle, and we can take this off because it can be installed easily by the user.
Okay.
Moving further to the left, you see the 8 megabyte of standard memory, or 16 megabyte, which is on the back side.
Okay.
Notice also the SIM sockets are there. So you can carry up to 144 megabytes of memory right on the system board.
Okay, can we look at the back of the board, see the rest of the memory, and also explain what you have as you call it triflex architecture.
Right.
What does that mean?
Triflex architecture actually started as flex architecture in the 386. We actually separate the memory from the processor bus in order to get higher performance.
And is that the 3 chips you have here?
That's the 3 chips here plus the 4 address buffers. And what we've done with that is designing our own chipset for the Pentium, we make use of all the performance and features that are in there. The biggest one is to make sure, as Stephen said, to keep the Pentium processor full, and we do a 128-bit path of memory, along with things like looking at algorithms to understand what the next instruction cycle may be.
Let me ask you about the heat question again, and you showed me the fan sitting in front of the Pentium, and you've got these sort of cooling devices here. What are you doing with these things?
What we have are the 560 Pentium and the 566. On the 560, we can cool it very adequately by using a passive heatsink.
So the 60 megahertz chip takes that guy to
uses
cool
a passive
off.
heatsink. What we've done when we designed the Desk Pro M back in 1990 and early 91, we knew that it would have a Pentium in it. We designed it for that. So we had the airflow actually coming around the outside of the computer and to make sure that it cools it. When the 66 megahertz, we actually go ahead and put the extra fan just for that extra margin of safety.
Yeah. All right, can we go run our little benchmark test here and maybe get this guy out of the way? And what are we going to run? What's the test going to be?
What we're going to run, we're not going to show Windows NT. We actually have Windows 3.1 on both machines because we want to make sure that you can understand and get a basis for where you might be today and where you can go just by upgrading a processor.
So even in the Windows 3.1 environment, we're still going to see the benefits of using a Pentium?
Sure, I think you'll see if you
Okay, so we're ready to run PowerPoint? Ready, set, go?
What we're showing is a PowerPoint demo. It's a demo that I'm sure a lot of your viewers have seen. And you'll see on the left side that with this Pentium processor board, it just runs a lot faster.
How much is a lot faster?
Actually, almost 3 times as fast when you compare to 48633. It's important also to note that with Windows 3.1 or with PowerPoint, where the way we're showing it, it's not Pentium-aware code. This is straight MS-DOS type
So
code.
the software doesn't know, it's not ready for the Pentium, but
That's
it's taking
exactly right.
advantage of the way you're quickly moving data nevertheless.
Compatibility is real key.
And obviously the Pentium's already done.
And he's already done, and we're going to wait for just a minute.
And our 48633 is still cranking along.
Which is still
I remember the days when we were doing the 46 versus the 386, and the 486 was done, and we're waiting.
Did the same sort
and
of
it goes on and on and on.
And we made really a huge leap forward in performance to be able to go the upgradability to that.
You guys are out there actually selling these Pentium machines now, and I take it the users are the guys who are really into graphics, into computation-intensive kind of applications.
That's true. If you are using graphics as part of your job and as part of what you're doing, clearly you'll want to have the most performance if you're doing a mission-critical application or your results are very timely for the corporation.
Can we take a look at a CAD demonstration, which I assume
me
CAD is a classic area in which you really need
Get
that
out of
speed.
this. And if we just type CAD, and again, this will hit the enter key.
Okay,
One
ready, get
second.
set, go.
Go. And what we have here is AutoCAD Release 12 for DOS. And AutoCAD Release 12 for DOS is, again, not Pentium aware. We're running just straight code to make sure that you can understand where you would be with a 4633 and where you could go just with this new processor board.
So taking a look at this CAD program here, obviously we're whizzing away here on the...
It's a pretty complex drawing. We're
on the
regenerating the
Pentium.
drawing. We're working with the hidden lines and shading at things that are very compute intensive to really isolate the processor to let you see just what the differences are in the processor itself.
And in this CAD environment, we still about 3x performance here between the
We're
two?
again right at 3 times the
Yeah.
performance of a 4633.
And well, this guy's done obviously
he's
a
done,
lot
and we're gonna
faster than the
continue here.
46. All right, final question, again about this upgrade question. How much would it cost me to use this board and upgrade my 4633 to get to Pentium 66 versus just buying a new machine?
To go to the new Pentium processor board would be under $2,000. You would have everything that you would need then to go to the full Pentium power.
And how much would it cost me to buy the 566?
Current price on the 566 is a $49.99.
Okay, so this is big savings.
A big savings.
Ron, thank you very much. That is our look at Pentium PCs. Stay tuned now for this week's computer news on Random Access.
In the Random Access file this week, Intel has announced the first round of price cuts on the Pentium processor. The company says prices will be cut up to 18% in the second quarter of '94. Intel says quick adoption of the Pentium processor by more than 100 manufacturers has led to the quickest ramp up in Intel history and the ability to move into high-volume, lower-cost production. Intel predicts that Pentium machines will account for 15% of the PC market in 1994. The company also announced a 15% price cut on 486 chips. Dell has announced a new line of Pentium-based PCs, the Omniplex 560 and 566. Dell says these are mission-critical computers with the most advanced features available, including PCI architecture. The new Dell Pentium machines will start at $3,499. Compaq says it is getting out of the printer business. The company announced it will no longer sell its PageMark brand of printers, but will continue to provide support for current users. Computers are coming to the rescue of the nation's healthcare system. The National Electronic Information Corporation has announced a new online network for linking healthcare providers and health insurers. The Healthcare Information Network was launched this month in 13 states as a first step toward nationwide implementation. The company says the new electronic link for the healthcare system will improve efficiency and reduce administrative costs. IBM has announced delays in shipping the new version of its PS2 models 76 and 77. The company says there are problems with a specialized memory chip. And IBM has now resumed shipment of the ThinkPad 500. The notebook computer was pulled from the market last month because of battery problems. IBM has replaced the older batteries with new nickel metal hydride batteries. If you bought an earlier model ThinkPad 500 and want your battery replaced, you can contact IBM customer service at 1-800-426-7244. Despite its problems, DataQuest says that IBM is #1 in market share in personal computers with 13.6% of the PC market. That's up from last year. Second is Apple with 11% and Compaq is third with 10%. NEC and Dell came in fourth and fifth. If you're a Unix user and would like to run Microsoft Word or Excel, a company called Quorum has just announced a new low-cost package that gets you either program for only $299. Up until now, Unix versions of the Microsoft titles have cost more than $1,000. The Quorum package comes bundled with the Equal Application Adapter, which transparently rehosts Word and Excel to run on Sun, Spark-compatible, or Silicon Graphics workstations. If you love the movie It's a Wonderful Life, you can see it now on your computer. A company called Kinesoft has released a CD-ROM version of the holiday classic. The 2-disc set comes with the complete movie plus a gigabyte of additional information, such as the full shooting script, film reviews, a trivia game, audio interviews, and more. The movie disc set is being distributed by MicroProse. It runs under Windows and lists for $79.95. Finally, a report funded by the National Science Foundation says American schools are not making good use of personal computers. While 99% of American schools have computers available to students, the NSF study said the schools are using outdated hardware and that teachers are not being given adequate training. The study found that Austria, Japan, and the Netherlands all had better computer training programs for teachers. That's it for this week's Random Access. For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Janelle Stelson.
Computer Chronicles is brought to you in part by Intel, microprocessor technology for the software of today and tomorrow. Intel, the computer inside. Additional funding is provided by the Software Publishers Association, providers of educational materials to help manage software. Don't copy that floppy. And by Hewlett-Packard, Personal Computer Division.
Video cassette copies of this program are available. Computer Chronicles also publishes a companion newsletter containing details on products demonstrated and information on program topics. To order a video cassette or a newsletter, call 1-800-799-4949 or write Computer Chronicles. Please specify program subject for tapes. All orders include a free software program for auditing software use and information on the definitive guide to keeping your organization's software legal.